Welcome, guys, to this next episode of the Trainer Feed. We are your hosts. I am Angel Sanchez. We have Mr. JD, Jacques Delagere.
What's going on, everybody?
We have Mr. DB, David Bravo.
What's up?
Here he is, the man himself.
And we're going to cover a couple of topics. Just one that we spoke about with one of our guests, which is journaling. I think we all took the initiative to start to journal. And I don't know where we're at with that, but it would be good to kind of take a pulse, check in. The other one was neck pain, fighting some neck pain, because I've had a couple of clients express that neck pain is a thing that they're trying to get over. And I had a game in mind, but the game ain't working out. So as opposed to talk about the game, we could talk about the new mask mandates in the gym. So
he got a get out of jail card right there.
Listen, because I went to 76 this morning, and it was, I was one of, I don't know, 5 or 8 people wearing a mask, and everybody else wasn't. And there was more people there too as well. But it seemed like last week,
right?
Last week it was completely different than what it is this week. But I've also heard that it's not that different from what it's like in other places like Florida or Texas. Like I think that there you can work out without your mask or anything like that, right?
Yeah, Florida and Texas, I think I've seen are the same. I want to say Illinois dropped when the CDC had dropped the mandate for masks. Before the New York State had spoken, they pretty much said right off the bat, yeah, you don't have to wear them. And look, it as you said, it's not saying you can't wear them. It's just saying you don't have to. And it's not. I'm definitely felt at Sports Club the number of people that have come back. There's people that I haven't seen since pre-COVID come back. This whole time I haven't seen them. I said, I recognize this person. So I've definitely noticed that. Do we want to segue into that one first?
Yeah, let's dive into that.
What are your thoughts, David?
Well, I think that people still have the option of wear it if they want to. And I don't think it's any more different than when you go to a restaurant and you take your mask off to eat. I have my mask on with most of my clients. I mean, I think today was the first time I took my mask off to train somebody.
Keep on the whole episode.
And that was, that was because he didn't know. And he was like, yeah, can I take my mask off? I'm like, yeah, take it off if you're vaccinated. You're good. He's like, yeah. And then he's like, you should take it off too. I'm like, all right, fuck it. So I took it off. And then I worked out with it off as well. And then when I was finished my workout, I put it back on to walk around. So
imagine
go
on. Go ahead. No, I was like, imagine it was any other article of clothing or something like that. I guess you would call it clothing, right? It's not. Is it clothing? It's protective equipment. It's an accessory. Imagine if it was like any other. Like, dude, take your watch off. I took my watch off, or I don't know.
Who said imagine if it was transferable through eyesight, everyone had to wear sunglasses? Someone within a meeting said that, right?
Yeah, but then I was like, I don't know if that's there's a blind community that probably wouldn't think that that's.
Oh, right. Yeah, that might not bode well.
But fortunately, none of us are blind, so we don't.
You don't have to. Well, I told you guys on Wednesday morning when it was the first time that you could go into the gyms without the mask mandate, and there was a guy like the mayor and he was working a shift idiot. For an hour and a half, going up to people like, hey, you have to go. Hey, he's a decent guy, but he just going up to everyone. And I was like, this guy, it wasn't one floor, it was more than one floor, because I was at one floor this time and went to another floor the other time. This guy's relentless. He is just going up to everyone. Like he's the mayor, and he
public service announcement guy.
He was working overtime. So I thought that was a funny thing, but I think it was just the excitement, and I thought it was interesting that when I saw that email, I ultimately, since the CDC on Thursday said all this stuff, I was keeping an eye open. So personally, I still think there's a risk without wearing it, but I'm at the point where I was just a little bit sick of wearing them, if I'm honest. So the first chance I have, just taking the opportunity. And I'm going to a game tomorrow, which is meant to be 5,000 people. 449. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm sure that's masks as well. But not to go too far off track, but I've been watching the NHL playoffs all week, and in different states, different laws. In Raleigh, North Carolina, guys, I shit you not, that stadium was full, and you're probably talking about anywhere between 13 and 16,000 people.
Dude, I saw the Canelo fight in Texas, and it was 70,000 people.
No masks, right?
No masks.
I think Rogan was talking about that.
Yeah, it was a lot of people, and I don't know. Like watching them, I'm like,
No one's forcing you to go, but my thought is if you have the opportunity, if you have the opportunity and you're wanting to go, that's on you. Like myself, like when I went to the first game in over a year, it was in April 3rd. It actually happened to be that I moved up my vaccination appointment to that day, but that day I'm still not completely protected, right? Supposedly research suggests it takes about 2 weeks to reach that immunity. So I was a little nervous and thinking, oh, this is a very stupid thing to go when I could wait a little bit longer. And ultimately I was okay. But then now that I'm going back to tomorrow, I feel that I feel a lot safer with vaccination in me. But
the 5G
I'm not even going to, we won't,
Bill
like
Gates.
our last episode, Bill Gates, I won't even start on the people that will just creating a scene, because I think everyone just wants to get back. I think New York City is almost back to where it was. I feel everything is busier.
I almost hit a guy in the bike lane because he was taking a selfie. He was just walking around and he just popped the selfie stick out in the bike lane. I was like, oh man, New York City's back.
Yeah. You posted something last year, New York City is healing, because I flipped someone off before 9 a.m. or something.
Yeah, it was on my
Remember that?
personal account, but that's cool. No, I think it definitely is. And I try, I've been, it takes a lot for me to get like upset to that point. Even the other day, like a taxi he cut me off. And he almost hit my bike, and I rode up to him and I explained to him why he was at fault, as opposed to just saying, you motherfucker. And he had somebody in the car and he was like trying to dodge me by like going one way, then going another way. And I was like, bro, this is an electric bike. Like, I'm good. But anyway,
there was a guy that there was a guy that when it was raining, I came back from Trader Joe's and he went through a puddle and got me good, right? And then I was like, what the fuck? So I went all the way down to the end of the road where he stopped at the light, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? I was like, you didn't have to. And then I realized it was like 3 like mean, nasty looking guys. I had like my grocery bags and all this stuff, and I was just like, dude, you didn't have to do it. And I definitely thought, yeah, I'm glad I didn't like curse this guy out, because I might have been like on the floor with my groceries like shortly after. But it was just that mentality when you're I think cycling in New York City is a whole other task skill than cycling anywhere else, right? Like you said, the taxis don't give a fuck. The taxis will just go every direction. They don't look, they don't indicate, no one indicates. And as you mentioned, even people in the bike lane just go every direction. I am guilty sometimes of going the other way, yes, in a bike lane. But there are people that just go, or the people that are on their phone.
Yeah.
On their phone or this. I'm like, bro, like you are in a busy lane. But
I think the bigger the machinery, or the more damage you can do, the more responsibility. And I do feel like bikers should kind of like take some responsibility to that as well. You are going fast and you could mess somebody up. And if it's a kid or a dog, you can probably kill them. But to that hierarchy, drivers need to take some responsibility and realize you could just kill somebody and, you'll be fine. You might have to like fix your, fender or whatever, but.
Yeah, no, it's pretty dangerous in New York City. I remember a buddy of mine years ago, he's the one I shit on about something else, Richard. He's all good. He's listening. He's probably not listening. He came to the city to visit me. Like no, I call him by Richard, but Dickie's his nickname. But he came to visit one year, one summer, and we rode the bikes all the way down like the highway, and then we came through, but we came up from the Lower East Side. You know how Broadway starts on the Lower East Side and goes all the way across the West Side at the top. So we went all the way up Broadway because I thought it was just the easiest way. But Broadway, as you get closer to Midtown and just after Midtown, is very crazy. At least it was pre-COVID. And he was like, "Oh man, like you have to like slow down," because in New York City, everyone is trying to catch the light. Everyone is trying to beat the jaywalkers or whatever, or like get past them. So he said, "Oh, never mind me to never do that again with you." And it took me a long time to get Alex to ride the bikes in the city. She was very against it. And then I think probably just after COVID, when we didn't want to take the subway, that was a very good avenue for her to start seeing it's not so bad as long as we're safe about it. But how do you go from this? From masks? Oh yeah.
You went on that tangent.
I went off, but anyway, back in short. I personally am happy to not have to wear them. I still think people should be distant, and yeah, it feels weird if I'm honest. I'm so used to it, and I'm so used to having to leave my apartment building with one or whatever. But personally, I'm happy about it. That's just my stance. But
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think the social aspect probably drove that, as well as the science and stuff behind it. But there was probably a lot more people fighting over wearing masks or not wearing masks than people fighting over spreading COVID. And then that becomes another issue that people have to deal with, because if two people get in a fight, one man has a mask, one man doesn't have a mask, and they're just like fighting to the death, but nobody gets COVID. It's kind of like, why were you fighting in the first place? You know what I mean?
yeah.
So anyway, but that's it's different. It's a change. I'm still wearing my mask professionally. I think that there's a couple of my clients who've expressed that their kids can't get a vaccine, so their kids are still likely to get COVID, and things like that. So
that I respect, though. If a client will request myself or one of the, I totally have respect for that, though.
I'm just doing it straight out the gate. I feel like until that gets resolved, until all my clientele can feel comfortable, I'm just like not, and it's fine. It's just a mask during sessions. I'm wearing the surgical mask now, or that Under Armour mask, which is way more breathable.
Under Armour one is thicker though.
95.
The Under Armour one is thick, no?
I guess so. But it's I was wearing the N95, so compared to that, it's not that. It's more breathable, I feel.
More breathable.
And it doesn't like pull on my ears. I have big ears, so I think it will.
I'm telling you, when I was flying, I don't know if it was the N95, the one you passed me. When I flew, I just got a headache. I don't think it was the mask. I think it was just flying and not being able to fully breathe. I don't know what it was, but maybe it's because I haven't flown in so long.
Yeah. The next thing was the neck pain. Any of y'all have? I have clients who are dealing with neck pain, and even I succumbed to neck pain during this pandemic, and I started doing some more stretches, and I got stuff on tripods and notebooks and textbooks, stacked up laptops and things like that, so things are eye level.
Oh, so you don't have to.
Yeah, because it's like you're trying to like reach forward, like you're trying to look into things. But what about you guys? Have you guys adapted anything? I have like the tripod that I set up now, and that seems to do well for virtuals. And then obviously, programming and stuff like that, I try to elevate my stuff. I'm actually thinking about getting like another tripod for my laptop, or like a monitor, so things could be eye level.
I personally have found myself slouching more as well, and I haven't felt neck pain. I felt some parts of pain in my back or sensitivities, and I've thought about how you talked about having your private sessions when your virtual sessions when you're standing up. That's something I haven't really done, but I'm hoping in this new space we're able to do it and because I'll have like a bit more of a space to allocate to that. But I always sleep in bad positions to begin with, like sleeping terrible. But I've dealt with some clients who do get that pain. The only thing that I communicate with them is sometimes the thought behind pain is, or at least once we explore foam rolling or trigger point or massage therapy, is to massage the point of pain. And that's sometimes not ideal. And that's just something I communicate to some clients, I rolled over a ball. And I mean, sometimes that can make it feel worse. I think it's fair to say. So I always try and advocate go below or above the area, because it's likely the pain is not always the source of the discomfort. So I felt that when people get neck pain, whether it was sleeping funny, is it that one shoulder hikes higher than the other? It's not always necessarily a straightforward solution to it. There's maybe a lot more different. And if someone's leg length is different, right? So their hips hike, and then if their hips hike, their whole torso, the whole thoracic is all off, and then that makes sense. But even when you work with clients who have recently had kids, right, that's a whole other thing, because they're used to holding their kids in their left hand if they're right-handed and doing everything with the right hand, or vice versa. So but I always try and suggest those people go to a massage therapist. Chiropractors I haven't really so much suggested, but I just think go to a massage therapist who can work on your tissue, and not just get your partner to drill the fuck out of you with a Theragun, because I think you guys don't know unless you're a massage therapist, it's hard to know how your body's going to respond to some sort of stimulus in that sense.
Yeah, I think this, even massage therapists, like you don't know necessarily how much pressure that person can handle. I'm sure that's part of the massage therapy school, but I'm the same way. Like I'll refer to physical therapists, massage therapists, when it comes to clients, but then also like try to work on like the lifestyle stuff. It's like, what's your desk setup like? Because now, since you kind of have like the window into somebody's home or like work setup, I could just easily say, what is your work desk look like, and can you sit down in it and let me see what that looks like, and then work on those things, because I feel like more often than not that's probably attributing to the neck pain. Like it's just those daily things that attributes to the neck pain more so than anything else.
And one last thing, I'll let you jump in, David. Sorry. When people talk about, I know they talk a lot about like when they've gained weight and they're trying to lose it. Similar analogy to you talking about pain and discomfort, or your anatomy, or the way your body is positioned, or how tight your anterior posterior. That hasn't just happened overnight. It's years or months of doing repetitive patterns dominantly on one side or dominantly of one manner. So it just to reiterate to people listening to this, that if you're doing correctives, you might not see, you might not see change over a day or a week because it took X amount of time for you to get to this discomfort or this asymmetry, if you will. But sorry, David, I'm going to cut you off.
My biggest thing's always been the pillow. Like growing up, I really liked the really hard pillows, like the really stiff ones. But then as I got older, they really fuck my neck. So I've been trying to get pillows that are a little more giving. Because if you look at your body and where your spine is when you're sleeping, and your pillow is really hard, then you're like this basically the entire night. And that's not the best position for your spine. But I don't know. I also have weird sleeping positions. Like,
how do you sleep?
I mean, sometimes, mostly either on my stomach or on my side.
Still like me then, yeah.
Yeah. There were a couple of times where I wake up and my whole body is like the opposite direction of when I went to bed, and it's so weird. It's like my head is up by the headrest, and then I just wake up flipped. I'm like, how did that happen? But yeah, no, a lot of it has to do with sleeping positions, and I think also just day-to-day stuff.
Do you want to?
Make sure you see it.
Sorry, and did you finish? I interrupt. I'm sorry.
I'm done.
I have a quick funny story. So it's not mocking anyone or anything. When I was at university, we had sometimes people come over and crash our house, right? And we had this one friend, Andrew, and this guy, unfortunately, he had a condition where he struggled to walk when he was younger, and then eventually when he's older, he's in a wheelchair. Long and short is he couldn't really feel his legs going forward, and he was a super nice guy, very good mindset on life, just very positive. Anyway, I'm telling you this for a reason, right? So he would stay over. One, going out with him on night out was very different because he would just just drop in the middle of the street, and you're like, what the hell, whatever. Anyway, long story short is, one morning I woke up and I was scared. His legs were in positions I'd never seen before. And that's when you tell me how you wake, and that was, but he's probably not sensitive to that, right? And it just scared the bejesus out of me, because I'm like, I got his legs were in all sorts of position. But I know David's like cracking up, but it was like if you think Woody in Toy Story, when he comes in, like you can't see Andy know that he's like alive, and he just like drops. It's kind of like how he looked like.
Damn.
Yeah,
it's rough.
And that'll get David going.
Yeah, and David can't communicate anymore.
He was this guy
incapacitated by the story. He's floored.
Sorry, I had to get that out there.
Damn. All right, Andrew. Well, if you're listening to this,
join us on the podcast one day and
tell your side of the story.
Tell your side of the story.
Let's even this shit out. All right. What was the last part we were going to talk about? I just had it. Oh, journaling. So
journaling, yeah.
You guys like journaling?
I've been doing it a little bit since we started. I've definitely found myself doing it on days when I was just more consumed with a few things or stresses, and I just think personally it's helped me put, if so many thoughts are going on in your mind, just put them to paper, and help with sleeping by just leaving it on the paper and not think about it when you go to sleep. But what about you guys?
I've been trying to do it a little bit more after we did that podcast with Raimi, and I feel like it was difficult for me to start it because I was like, where do I start? What do I say? And then, just kind of went with it. And it actually, I felt a lot better going to sleep. Like it felt like it almost calmed my mind. Because sometimes like, your mind races or whatever. And you just go into like these loopholes or these rabbit holes right before you go to bed. And you're just like, well, this is a unfortunate time to go down this rabbit hole, right? You're just like thinking like a whole bunch of stuff. But I think it kind of helps to calm everything down and then also organize my thoughts for the next day. And I think as a byproduct, I've also been making more lists throughout like the weeks. So day-to-day lists, to-do lists, and organizing them in list of priority. And that's helped me out a ton, just like kill shit during that free time that we might have, like the 30 minutes or 45 minutes we might have as trainers.
Yeah, I think it definitely allows you to organize the thoughts and just, what I'm doing tomorrow, or yeah, I can definitely attest to that as well.
Well, I don't journal at all.
Oh, you hadn't done it a little bit like we said we were going to try?
Anything.
Wait a minute, you did it that day.
No, I said I have the books to start. I never started it.
Oh, so you have the books.
Oh,
I have
man.
like little journals.
That's your action step.
It's just something that I just don't think about. I mean, I have my therapy once a week, and
You're also artistic, too.
I'm not artistic at all.
Well, you can play the guitar. That's artistic.
Yeah, that is artistic.
You can't play the guitar and say that you're not artistic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't make my own music. I mean, I just play with other.
So you
Yeah, but you're
plagiarize.
Yeah, basically plagiarize everything.
You're still tapping to that part. Anyone listen to me, or just like want to butcher this comment, but you're tapping into that part of the mind and part of the brain that is about the creativity, like what Angel's saying, the whole music playing.
East and west.
I mean, I guess.
Right
I guess it depends on the music that I listen to. So,
Pearl Jam.
I guess.
On repeat.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I have my therapy once a week, and I don't know. It's just journaling isn't something that I'm interested in doing. I probably might get a good thing out of it, but it's just one of those things that I'm just like.
You know what's interesting as well?
Lists are great. I like to-do lists. I have to get back
lists.
to doing to-do lists.
Yeah, lists are good.
The other thing I think as well, it's important to mention if anyone else is thinking this who's listening, that I sometimes think, shit, what if someone finds this? Because I'm not saying I have dark thoughts. No, but I don't have dark thoughts. But sometimes I think of things that are just so, I don't want to say unnecessary, but are just certain methods of thought that just don't seem logical that I have down, and things that cause me stress don't necessarily cause other people stress, or they might seem very minor or self-inflicted events. But for me personally, if I'm open about it, like in this winter with Alex being away, I struggled a little bit with my mental health because it was dark, because it was COVID, because we weren't doing anything. And then I explained this to Alex when she came back a few times, that it's a little bit of some OCD, right? But for me, what it was, I was by myself with a dog, right? But I needed routine and rhythm and rhyme to help be consistent. So it was having to do the gym certain days, certain times. And that's why, if any client listens to this in my life, but like when someone tries to change last minute, it fucks in my head, because I need, it's all about logic, right? Sleep is the ultimate recovery. If I don't work out that day, it's probably going to affect my sleep. Now, and then it's a knock-on, right? It's a knock-on effect. If I don't work out, I don't sleep. I don't sleep, I don't perform well, I don't train well, I'm a miserable person to be around with. So when you chalk up all these things, I know what the end result is going to be. It's like, I know if I sleep like trash on a Sunday night, the tone set for the week is not a good one. So to me, journaling has helped me a little bit in that respect. When I get out the ideas, I'm like, why am I stressing about this? So when someone wanted to do a commitment or an appointment at noon or 1 p.m. on Fridays before we record, I'd be like, okay, but it has to be set up shop by like 10 of 2 because everything runs over or things like that. Just saying that. Well, personally, I said like 2 p.m. on Fridays, whatever it is. We've changed a couple times, but like I allotted that time to that. It's all about my inner goings on, but it's helped me for that respect. And again, it's not. Alex made a really good joke when I talk about like being specific about needing to get up, whatever. Getting about a quarter of 5, like we don't do it every day. I don't think any of us do it every day, right? We don't have 6 a.m.s every day, either of us, right? Any 3 of us. But pre-COVID, I felt as though most of us were up at a 6 a.m. client pretty much every day, right? And I think that after COVID, you realize that that's actually really tough to do, to be at 6 a.m. every day. We'd gotten to a point where we're used to it. But coming back after COVID, having a couple of sessions, I actually said for my health, I don't want to do more than 2 a week, because getting up at 4:45 on those days is kind of brutal. And it's just, I actually really enjoy training the client, but it's tough, you know? And I also don't think we perform that. I don't think as an individual, I perform that well at 6 a.m. personally. I think you get me better at 7, 8, 9, whatever time. It's like if you got me.
I hate getting up, but once I'm up and
once you're up, you get more stuff done.
I like 6.
Yeah, sorry, that was a bit of a rant, guys. But
yeah, it's not even getting more stuff done. I just feel good.
Yeah. So it does feel better to get those morning clients in. I'd rather be in the morning than at night, that's for sure. In the night, you kind of like long day, you're kind of sleepy and all that good stuff. But I
think I get a little loopy at night.
Yeah, and I
just fall asleep. There've been a couple times where I'm like training a client, I'm like this. Oh shit!
Did I tell you that story when a trainer, I won't say his name, fell asleep? Did I say that?
Yeah, I think you remind us for our listeners though. I think I know the story.
Yeah, he was just the older gentleman, not necessarily old, but older than I, and he was, it was 7 a.m. something like that. His client was doing some kettlebell swings, and he just started like gently and softly closing one eye, then gently and softly, like, when the eyes start rolling around in their skull, you're just like, oh, this person's done. I remember seeing that in class too, right? Remember like sitting in class, you see somebody just like start nodding and then whatever.
Yeah. This dude was standing. Yeah,
this dude was standing. Oh, right, in our curriculum, this dude he was standing up. So I was like, it'll be impressive if he's able to do it. And lo and behold, he just full on knocked out. His client was doing kettlebell swings, and his client screamed out because he was behind her, and she's like, "How many more?" He's like, "Done." I don't want to give away too much, but that was the story. I was like, damn, man. I was like, you had a rough night? And he just told me to fuck off. But anyway.
There was also someone where they said, how many more? He said 2 more. And you said, oh, you said it was for time. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He was like, oh, 10 more.
Yeah, I told a client of mine that story. He was like, if you're going to make up a number, if you're going to fake that you're sleeping, you have to make up a number. It can't be like 5. It can't be 1. It's got to be like 2 or 3, because you can't, like, 2 or 3 is like believable. But if you say like 5 more or no, you're done, that's too much. Now you were out of it. You weren't paying attention for whatever reason. They probably don't even know you were asleep. They probably thought you were distracted, text message, whatever, Facebook, Instagram, but going to sleep. And then you can't tell the person, because we spoke about that. I said, would it be better if they told him, he was like, oh, it'd be better if you just said that you fell asleep. And I said, would it though? Because like, as a client, you're like, you have that internal dialogue with yourself. You're like, oh yeah, maybe he was tired. And then you're just like, well, maybe my kettlebell swings were trash. And it was like, or maybe he's just overworked, or maybe, he just doesn't want to be here right now. It's like, does this time work for him? Or, and it just continues. It's a never ending. So 2 to 3. Remember that.
2 to 3. There's another coworker of ours. She had a client that was 7 or 8 a.m. and the person was retired, I think, the client. And the trainer suggested, you're retired, why don't we come in at noon or 1 p.m.? And the trainer was telling me how the difference in her performance was night and day. She was well rested.
Yeah.
The person was recently retired, I think. So was going out to dinner and drinking every night, right? So that's whatever you want to do. You're entitled to whatever you want to. But in terms of performance, her performance was suffering because she probably wasn't sleeping enough and 8 a.m. wasn't working. And I just remember talking to the trainer. She's, oh my God, she's lifting heavier.
Yeah.
I can attest to just feeling more mobile and better and more well prepared to move later in the day than first. I've started working out on some days just because of the time constraints I have to start working out at 7 a.m. My body's not fully ready to go at 7 a.m. I'm not hitting any PR at 7. I think, David, you spoke about that a long time ago when you only had a 7 or 8 a.m. slot to do some heavy lifts and you had to do it. Like, it's not easy, but mentally your body just isn't. I mean, you can do all the foam rolling, mobility, and warming up you want to do, but in the morning, you're still, I don't know.
I think you spoke about that with, that was with Fanny's episode, I believe, because we were talking about like time of days we were like ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not easy, but you gotta. That's what I think. I think we spoke about this as well. When if kids ever become part of the picture, when you're gonna have to, I think 6 a.m. is the only time you can work out, or whenever they're sleeping. That's just kind of how it is, and that's why when we have clients 6 a.m. in the beginning, I was like, oh, God bless these people, because they know it's the only time they have to work out. So you don't really have a choice. But I'm always impressed when I see people getting up early and suck it up and just get down.
Yeah,
we adapt. Yeah,
everything. There was another thing I wanted to talk about, but it was like, I noticed that I started doing this, and this has nothing to do with fitness, but have you ever hung out around somebody for a long period of time and then you just start doing what they do or
their mannerisms, you mean?
Say? Yeah, their mannerisms.
Yeah.
I think that's happened to me, and when I catch it, like, it's probably better that I don't catch it. That way I'm not tripping over it, but sometimes I just catch it and I'm just like, damn, I've been around this person for way too long. It's like, now I gotta X you out of my life.
When I'm around you two, my dialogue has changed dramatically, because like with David, that Charlie, we just say the stuff on zone. I don't say to Alex. So, but
when you say it to Alex, like sometimes like those things like that transfer over. I remember David and I were hanging out the last time we did our photo shoot. And then he did that, oh, nah, because we were like changing clothes on the basketball courts. And that's something that his brother does. It's something that Adrian does. And it was funny. Really? It was timely. It was like, damn, like that happens. You're around that person so much. And what they do is it's clever, it's fun, and it makes sense. And then you just start doing it.
That's the thing with my brother, my brother's funny without trying to be funny. Like, he doesn't know it.
Like, very dry.
Yeah, but he's just like, shit that he says sometimes is just funny. And he's like, and then he'll be like, what? Like, dude, what? Like, then he's like, oh, nah. I'm like, okay.
It's funny.
Nah, he's pretty funny.
Makes me think of whenever I'm with friends from the UK, it just switches, because the words that we use or colloquialisms are just a little bit different. So, yes, brah, yes, fam. What's up?
You become Peaky Blinder.
Peaky fucking Blinders, might tell you what. I don't know if so. Peaky Blinders at Birmingham. That's where I went to university. So there are people. And this is the funny thing, right? So I did chemistry. For those who didn't know, I already mentioned this.
Oh yeah, you have a
20
master's
times,
in chemistry, right? Okay.
Another mention. So there was these guys on the course, and then in my final year in the research group, this spoiler alert, my research went terrible, but there'd be people in this class, and they'd be like, with the accent, like, oh, so I realised if you use DMAP in your second part of the mechanism, you'll make it so much more effective and high yield. And in my head, I'm thinking, you are probably on the money, and you're probably right. And that's a very academic answer, but that accent, you could become the most thing, but I couldn't take it seriously. And anyone who's a Brummie listening to this is going to hate on me. But look, I went there. I love that city. Just the accent kills me. And like, again, the Peaky Blinders, anyone I ask who's watched it or watches it, I ask them, yeah, but without the subtitles, like, no.
I got to check that out. Is it good?
I struggle to get into it. And maybe it's because I was in the city of Birmingham that I just thought
it was amazing. That was really well done.
What'd you call him? Is it Killian? Or how do you say his name? Cillian Murphy.
He's amazing.
His accent is really good. You would think
Irish actor.
Yeah, but his accent for a Brum, so you call people from Birmingham a Brummie. What's up, Brummies? That's a really good accent. So what's going on, mate? Tell you what.
Why is it that tone? Like, why is it?
It just is. Johnny, I don't know. It just. Hang on 1 second. Alfie. Shh.
Alfie bait me.
Johnny. Oh, that really hurt.
Chocolate.
I don't know. It's just regionally they speak in that tone, and it's just kind of high pitch, and it's
Like
funny
the
because
South, just a different. Accent.
no, Wolverhampton, Birmingham is in the center of the country, but the accents just so whenever you see movies, I'd say a lot of the accents are like London sounding
Can you do
accents.
Cockney accent?
Like fucking Cockney, innit?
Yeah.
Fucking have it. There was a guy my first year at university. He was from Kent, and he didn't say this. But he goes,
He's gonna be
"Fucking
shitting
have
on
it."
people this whole
I'm just,
episode.
no, I'm not shit on people. These are just memories I have from university. But
Don't
he's
say
like,
their names though.
I fucking have it. And he's like, I don't say that. I was like, yeah, but you might as well. So he was a funny guy. But yeah, all the accents are again. I think it's like the US though. When you go to the West Coast, to the South, Midwest, these accents. Like, it's so funny because I never really picked up on the Minnesota accent until I watched Minnesota or Making a Murderer. Oh, what do you be calling home tonight? Well, I don't know. That was to me that was very eye opening. I didn't know that.
What?
You guys never saw that? Well, I don't know.
No, we saw it, but
I've never seen it.
It was a brother-in-law for those listening. Was it Steven? 100% was him. He gets so heated on the phone, and he's a hunter. You're thinking, huh?
I wonder what happens if you put like two people, like one's from like the South because they have like a very distinct accent, and then somebody from like I don't know that Peaky Blinders show together in a room, and you're just like have a conversation about this and see how that conversation will go. Both parties speak English, right? But both totally different.
Yeah,
types.
And
of
even Scottish, when there's people that
Scottish
watch some
is
of the
hard,
shows,
I think.
Scottish, but there's just so many words they change. Like dog, they change it to Doug. It's a Doug, eh? And they just, I was just exposed to it because I've seen my mum Scottish and my grandparents would go visit them. But maybe I told this story. We went to like a service station in Scotland. Did I tell you guys the story?
Maybe.
Sorry to our listeners if you ever heard this story. Anyway, so my mom, being the Scottish one, she only lived. She moved out when she was 18, so she lived most of her life outside of Scotland. But anyway, we go to a service station, and this guy's got a very, very thick accent, and he's asking what drink you wanted. That he's like, do you want? So, in layman's terms, do you want a Diet Coke? Do you want a Fanta? Do you want a Sprite? Whatever. And what he actually proceeds to say is, "Well, you want that Diet Coke, Fanta, Sprite? What you want that?" Right? Very hard to interpret. And my mom, she's like, let me handle this, right? She goes up. He repeats what the drinks are. She turns around and she starts crying, like with laughter, because she just doesn't know what he's saying. And she's the Scottish one. So it was just like an example that even though she's Scottish, there are still some accents that are very hard to interpret. And this is not any diss. It's just like, it's like in any country, right? I tell you, without digressing is, and I'm waffling on this episode, I don't even care. So being French speaking as well, if you guys hear how the Canadians speak French in Montreal, oh my God. When we went there, I thought it was a different language. So being from Europe, when you came to New York, the TV was in English, Spanish, and sometimes Italian. So we get to Montreal and there's this thing on TV. We're like, I wonder what language this is. Oh my God, it's French. But it doesn't sound like it. It's just something else.
How does it sound like?
So if I was living in France, then again, the irony is my French sounds like it's Canadian French, right? So people, when I went to an Islanders game, like, oh, you Canadian? I was like, fuck, I'm not even speaking French, I'm speaking English. So there was that as well. But let's say if I was in a store, right, and I'm working the store, and I'd say, do you need a hand? Vous avez besoin d'un coup de main? Like, do you need a hand? And the Canadian French would say, oh, was that so cool, man? They're lazy about their pronunciation. And some people ask me that when we're there, and I'm thinking,
yo, shout out to the Canadians, bro.
Oh, dude, I love Canadians, though. And I love watching their hockey. And that's why, like, it's kind of funny. Because then right now you can put the French version on, and it's like, oh, all a bit. And then just hear it and sound goal. But it's just very different. Yeah. I know. Damn, I have just really gone down some rabbit hole today. So what happens we don't have a guest on?
Gotta do some more journaling. Try to organize those thoughts.
Yeah, those thoughts.
Now we know what goes on in that book. That book is just like
full of rage.
But what about if you can talk about it in 2 minutes? My client asked me, he said, why do they fight in hockey?
There was so many good fights last night, actually. So why I actually like it. I never fought myself, but there's a couple of reasons why someone would fight. You're saying?
Why is it there?
Why?
Like, why do they
is it there?
allow people
Because
to do
it's
that?
part of the game. But the rules are if someone falls to their knees or there's first blood, the referees have to intervene. They normally do.
But it's
but-
part of the game that doesn't count. Like, it doesn't count towards anything.
No, it does, because if you fight, the team gets a 2-minute penalty, and then you as a player get a 10-minute penalty. So you're in the box for 10 minutes, and then you play 4-on-4 for 2 minutes. But you're usually fighting with someone, right? So both of you guys go to the box, one from either team.
So then you both get penalties.
You both get penalties, yeah. But there's instances where if someone, like if you're skating by and you're the other team and I just clock you for no reason, like I'm getting a penalty and you're not. But again, I never fought personally myself, but I tell you, if your team is sucking and you have one guy that says, "Sorry, I'm just gonna change them," and I have seen games when this is the Islanders years ago, they were down 1-0, and some guy this defender takes an attacker out from the Islanders who's not like an aggressive person, and someone else says, "You know what? Fuck this," drops the gloves and just goes after the guy that put the dirty hit on, and that changes everything. And also, there's something to be said with. I'll show you a clip when it was actually the Rangers and the Capitals 2 weeks ago when this guy went OD. He punched this guy when he was on the floor and he was defenseless. Then in the same sequence, 10 seconds later, he got someone like 2 feet smaller than him and ragdolled this guy to the ground with his helmet off and his head went first.
Damn.
You know, the crazy thing was this guy didn't even get suspended. You're like, oh, what? So that, like, it trust me, and last night when I was watching the Islanders play and they got beat, there were so many fights, and that crowd, and that's why playing with a crowd versus to playing without any crowds is so different. Like it just changes the energy completely. But really, to your point, it doesn't really happen as much. But it's kind of policing the game. So if you have someone, because you can body check someone, right? You can take people out. If you got someone that's going after, let's say, like David's constantly going to hit you, right? And me and Angel on the same team, someone will go after David and be like, all right, you stop this, knock it off now. So it somewhat polices the game. The game polices itself so much. But look, let's go to our game soon or next year, whenever. And I mean, we watched our game right before COVID hit. I feel like last year.
We'll go to a quality game like a Rangers game. You know.
Yeah, but the Rangers aren't in the playoffs, are they, David? What? The Rangers aren't in the playoffs, or are they?
You going to a Islanders game tomorrow? You said.
Yeah, game four.
Bring the
what?
hand wraps.
Hand
hand wraps, yeah, for people who're gonna fight. You know, Vaseline on the face, cheekbones.
I'm not fighting, Angel.
Listen, man, you said there were a lot of fights.
Bring a cut team
ready.
Well, did you guys see the guy from the Padres fan who just clocked that guy in the crowd?
No,
yeah,
I didn't see that.
I'll let you guys go because we could go on forever. But this guy in the crowd, just a fan, he just clocked him.
Just knocked him out.
All right, damn.
Bananas.
Anyway,
all right, guys, keep your hands up. We'll catch you in the next one. Later.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.